At our 10th anniversary gala, I walked onto the stage clutching an engagement ring, ready to hand over my billion-dollar empire to my boyfriend of 10 years, Hwasiming. Instead, he stepped into the spotlight with a pregnant girl on his arm and slammed a sonogram onto my face. "Lin Nyan, you can't have kids, don't stand in the way of my family line, give me half the company and we'll call it even." The room went deathly silent as our business partners pulled out their phones, looking at his smug face. I slowly pulled off the diamond ring and smiled. "Hwasiming, you're fired. And as for the girl next to you," I looked at the mistress. "I'm the one who planted her in your company 3 months ago." On the giant screen behind us, the bank balance for Siming Tech instantly dropped to zero. The 10th anniversary gala for Star Moon Capital was packed with over 500 people, all of them big names in the business world. I stood backstage, gripping the ring I'd bought 3 years ago but never found the right moment to give him. 10 years from being chased by street wardens while hawking goods on the sidewalk to running a billion-dollar conglomerate, Hwasiming had been by my side for a decade. Today, I had planned to announce his promotion to Group CEO and propose. "Ms. Lin, it's time," my assistant, Xiao Ju, whispered. I nodded, tucked the ring into my pocket, took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. The lights hit me and the room erupted in applause. I stood at the mic, scanned the crowd but didn't see Siming. "Everyone, thank you for joining us for Star Moon Capital's 10th anniversary." I'd barely finished my opening line when the ballroom doors swung open. Hwasiming walked in. He was in a bespoke suit, hair slicked back perfectly, with a girl on his arm. She looked to be in her early 20s, wearing a white dress that barely hid her slight baby bump. The room fell silent. I watched from the stage as they walked toward me, stopping right below the podium. Siming looked up at me with that familiar smile, one I used to think was tender but now realized was pure contempt. "Lin Nyan," he began, his voice booming through the speakers, "I wanted to tell you this in private, but since you've made such a big scene, I might as well clear the air in front of everyone." He pulled a piece of paper from his pocket and held it up. A prenatal report. Even from a distance you could see the tiny embryo on the ultrasound. "She's pregnant," Siming said, pulling the girl closer. "Lin Nyan, we've been together 10 years. And your belly hasn't moved an inch. The doctors say you're barren. I can't let my bloodline end with me, right?" Murmurs broke out in the crowd. I gripped the microphone, silent. "I'm a reasonable man," Siming continued, his tone shifting to that of a business negotiation. "We built this company together. We'll split it 50-50 and go our separate ways. You live your life, I live mine. We can still be friends." Beside him, the girl shrunk into his chest, playing the part of the pitiful victim. "That doesn't sound right, Mr. Hua," someone shouted from the crowd. Wasn't Star Moon Capital founded by Ms. Lin alone? Siming's expression flickered for a second before he recovered. "This is family business, outsiders should stay out of it, right, Lin Nyan?" Every eye in the room was on me. 500 pairs of eyes and dozens of smartphone cameras were aimed at my face. I took the mic off the stand, walked to the edge of the stage and looked down at him. 10 years. For 10 years I'd survived on 4 hours of sleep. I started from a street stall, dodged authorities, got scammed by suppliers, and was once even locked in a warehouse by competitors. What did Hwasiming do? He held a title, went to dinners, and soaked up the vanity of being called CEO. And now he wanted half. "Hwasiming," I said, my voice steady, "are you finished?" He blinked, startled. "I am." "Good." I reached into my pocket and pulled out the ring. Siming's eyes lit up. Did he think I was backing down? I held the ring up to the light, letting everyone see the 3-carat pink diamond. "I bought this 3 years ago," I said. "I was going to give it to you today, announce your takeover of the group and propose." A collective gasp rippled through the hall. The look on Siming's face was priceless, from smugness to shock, then to something I couldn't quite place, regret. "Perhaps, however," I said and dropped the ring. The diamond hit the marble floor with a sharp clack and rolled to his feet. "Hwasiming, you're fired." I turned to walk off the stage. "Lin Nyan," he screamed at my back. "Are you crazy? Fired? I'm the legal representative of Siming Tech. You can't fire me." I stopped and looked back. "Siming Tech is a wholly owned subsidiary of Star Moon Capital," I said coldly. "Star Moon's equity structure uses a dual-class system. I hold all Class B shares, giving me 100% of the voting rights, which means," I smiled, "I let you be CEO because I felt like it. Now I don't." Siming went pale. "Also," I looked at the girl in his arms, "what's your name?" She looked at me timidly. Su Nyani N, grateful for kindness, nice name." I walked away without another look. Behind me, his roars followed. Lin Yan, get back here, get the hell back here. I didn't stop backstage. Xiao Ju hurried over and handed me a glass of water. Ms. Lin, what's the next move? Did you call the police? I asked. Yes, they're on their way. Good. I took a sip of water. Notify finance, execute the emergency protocol and freeze all Symingtech accounts. Also email every supplier. All accounts payable for Symingtech are to be reaudited starting tomorrow. Xiao Ju nodded and started making calls. I stood by the monitor, watching the chaos in the ballroom. Siming was surrounded by people, some filming, some questioning and some suppliers. By the looks of it, grabbing his sleeves demanding payment, the girl, Sunyani N, stood by his side clutching her stomach, looking pained. Then she looked up directly at the security camera. Just for a second I gave her a small nod. She looked down and suddenly cried out, "Oh, my stomach hurts." Her voice was loud enough for the whole room to hear. Siming turned to her, looking annoyed. "What now? It hurts so much." She crumpled to the floor, her face turning white. Someone called an ambulance. 10 minutes later, paramedics arrived with a stretcher. Siming tried to follow them into the ambulance, but a nurse blocked him. "Are you family?" "I'm the father." "Then you need to come with us to pay the deposit." Siming hesitated. My phone is dead. Can I come in a bit?" The nurse gave him a look, said nothing, and slammed the doors shut. Siming stood at the hotel entrance, chased the ambulance for a few steps and stopped. He turned around and caught my reflection in the glass doors. I was standing in the lobby watching him. He lunged toward the door, pointing a finger through the glass. "Lin Yan, don't push it. You think you can beat me? I've been running this company for years. I have the clients, I have the resources. You're just a woman. You don't know jack." I didn't say a word. I just watched him throw his tantrum. He cursed for 5 straight minutes until security tried to move him, and he shoved them away. Then the police arrived. Siming, 2 officers approached. "We've received a report of suspected corporate embezzlement. Please come with us to assist in the investigation." Siming froze. "Embezzlement? Who reported me?" The officers ignored him and cuffed him as he was led to the police car. I stood by the hotel entrance across the street. He glared at me through the window, eyes full of pure hatred. I waved goodbye. Xiao Ju leaned in. "Ms. Lin, about that girl, should we check on her at the hospital?" "No need," I said. "She can handle it." Xiao Ju hesitated. "Was she your plant?" I didn't answer. Across the street a black sedan pulled up slowly. The rear window rolled down to reveal a young face, Sunyani N. She gave me a thumbs-up gesture, rolled the window back up and the car drove off. I turned to leave. "Ms. Lin, where are you going?" "Home to sleep," I said. "Real work starts tomorrow." The next morning at 7:00 am sharp, I arrived at the office, the Symingtech headquarters, a 58-story building in the heart of the CBD. We bought this building 3 years ago because Siming wanted a prestigious base of operations. Looking back, what a waste of money. The elevator opened on the 58th floor to a hallway full of people. All the Symingtech executives were there, looking miserable. Ms. Lin, Zhong, the CFO, was the first to approach. "About Mr. Hua's office, we didn't dare touch it." I nodded and walked toward the office. I stopped by the group of executives. Everyone inside. Short meeting. In the conference room, 20 people sat around the long table, barely daring to breathe. I sat at the head of the table and dropped my bag. "You all know what happened last night. Here is how things are going to go." Everyone leaned in. "First, Hua Siming is out. I am acting CEO. Second, all business operations are suspended pending a full audit of every project. Third," I scanned the room. "Anyone who helped Siming with kickbacks, fake accounts, or asset transfers over the last 3 years, come forward now, and I'll consider leniency if I find it myself. I'm sending you straight to prison." The room was so quiet you could hear the clock ticking. "That's all," I said, standing up. "Dismissed." As I walked out, Zhong hurried after me. "Ms. Lin, there's an issue." "Talk." "Several suppliers called this morning demanding payment," he whispered. "The contracts Mr. Hua signed with them had 80% upfront payment terms. We're out of cash and they're blocking the entrance downstairs." I stopped. 80% upfront for what project? The Smart Industrial Park project. Total contract is 200 million. 160 million has already been paid out. Has construction started? Zhong wiped sweat from his brow. Not yet." I looked him in the eye. "Zhong, how long have you worked for me?" 12 years." "Then you know who I am. If you were involved in this, tell the truth now and I'll treat it as a voluntary confession." Zhong's legs buckled. "Ms. Lin, I wasn't. I swear Mr. Hua forced the signature. I tried to stop him but he said if I didn't sign, he'd replace me." "Fine." I cut him off. show me the contract. I saw the problem instantly. The contractor was a shell company founded recently with a capital of 1 million. The legal rep was a man named Zhong Defu, Hua Siming's uncle. I smiled. Xiaoju knocked and entered. Ms. Lin, Hua Siming is here. Where? In the lobby. The suppliers have him cornered. I walked to the window and looked down. A crowd was gathered at the entrance with signs and shouting. In the middle of the swarm was Hua Siming. He was wearing a rumpled shirt. His hair was a mess, and he looked nothing like the man at the gala. How did he get out? I asked. He was just assisting the investigation. There was no formal arrest warrant yet, so they released him this morning, Xiaoju said. He tried to get into the building but security blocked him and then the suppliers swarmed. I nodded and picked up the intercom. Tell security to let him up. 5 minutes later, Siming burst into the office. He was drenched in sweat, his shirt was covered in dirty handprints, and there was a scratch on his face. Lin Yan, he screamed, pointing a finger at me. You're playing me, aren't you? Setting those suppliers on me. I leaned back in my chair and stared at him, saying nothing. I'm telling you, I signed those contracts and I moved that money, so what? He grew bolder. I brought those suppliers in, I landed those projects. You kick me out now and see if they even recognize you. I picked up the remote and clicked the screen on the wall. The screen lit up, showing the back end of Siming Tech's bank account. Balance $000. Hua Siming was stunned. What did you do? I didn't do anything, I said. You did this to yourself. I pressed the remote and the screen flickered to a transfer record. Transfer date 3 months ago. Amount 800 million. Recipient Hua Siming's personal account. Memo. Project dividends. Hua Siming's face drained of color. This is the money you siphoned from the company, I stated. 3 months ago, under the guise of project dividends, you moved 800 million into your own account. You've been preparing for this since then, haven't you? Hua Siming's lips trembled, but he couldn't find his voice. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? I stood up and walked over to him. Hua Siming, I've been investigating you for 5 years. He took a step back. What do you mean, 5 years? I repeated. I've known since the very first asset you transferred. I stayed quiet because I wanted to see exactly how much you were greedy enough to take. The look on Hua Siming's face was a masterpiece, shifting from shock to terror, and then from terror to, he suddenly laughed. So what if you found out, Lin Yan? He backed up until he hit the door. That 800 million is already gone, moved to an offshore account. You can't touch it. The company's accounts are dry, suppliers are banging down the door, and the employees haven't been paid. How are you going to plug that hole? He grew more smug as he spoke. No matter how capable you are, Lin Yan, you're still just a woman. Women are too emotional in business. If you had kicked me out sooner, you wouldn't be losing this much, but now the company is going bankrupt. Your clients, your resources, I brought all of them in. Let's see if they stay with you. I looked at him, suddenly finding the situation pathetic. This was the man I had loved for 10 years. Are you finished? I asked. He blinked, caught off guard. If you're finished, get out, I said. Security is at the door, they'll escort you down. Lin Yan, he snapped. Are you deaf? The company is going under. I pressed the intercom. Security, come in. 2 guards pushed the door open, grabbed Hua Siming by the arms and began dragging him out. Lin Yan, just you wait, you're going to regret this, he screamed, his voice fading down the hall. The door clicked shut and the world went quiet. Xiaoju walked in and asked tentatively, President Lin, about that 800 million. Don't worry about it, I said. Let him enjoy his little victory for a few days. Xiaoju looked like he wanted to say more but eventually turned and left. I stood by the window looking down. Hua Siming was shoved out of the building by security, only to be immediately swarmed by suppliers. He was waving his arms, seemingly trying to explain, but no one was listening. Someone threw an egg at his face. He ducked clumsily, then broke through the crowd and sprinted across the street. An electric scooter nearly clipped him. The rider shouted an insult, but Hua Siming didn't stop. I watched him run until he disappeared into the crowd. My phone buzzed. It was a WeChat message from a contact named Sunyani N. Task complete. He's taken the bait, I replied with a single word. Good. Hua Siming slumped on the curb, gasping for air. He had run for 2 blocks before finally losing the mob of suppliers. He reeked of rotten eggs, his face was sticky and his shirt was as wrinkled as a floor rag. He pulled out his phone to make a call, only to find it was dead. Damn it. He slammed the phone against the ground, then immediately picked it back up. He stood up and kept walking. He needed to go home, take a shower, change, and then figure out exactly how to deal with that bitch Lin Yan. After a 20-minute walk, he reached the gates of his luxury rental. The keycard wouldn't scan. Thinking it was a system glitch, he tried again, still nothing. He rang the doorbell, no answer. He pulled out his physical key, one he kept for emergencies, and shoved it in. It wouldn't turn. The locks had been changed. Hwasiming froze. He reached for his phone again, remembered it was dead, and looked around. He walked to a nearby convenience store to borrow a power bank. After 5 minutes of charging, he powered it on. A flood of missed calls appeared, all from banks and debt collection agencies. He ignored them and called his landlord first. "Hello, Brother Wang, it's Hwasiming. Why has the lock been changed?" There was a pause on the other end. "Mr. Hua, someone from the company came by this morning. They said they were repossessing the unit, so I changed the locks." "What company?" "Your company, Xinghua Capital," the landlord said. "They said the apartment is a corporate asset and you were just staying there temporarily. They're taking it back." Hwasiming opened his mouth but no words came out. The apartment was a corporate asset. He had bought it 3 years ago in the company's name, but he had lived there ever since. He thought no one would care. He hung up and stood outside the convenience store, staring at the luxury high-rise across the street. That was his home of 3 years, 280 square meters, floor-to-ceiling windows, river views. He'd spent $5 million on the interior design alone. Now, he couldn't even get inside. He looked down at himself, smelling of eggs, clothes rumpled, standing on the street like a vagrant. No, he had to find a place to stay. He scrolled through his contacts and called his first friend. "Hello, President Lee, it's Hwasiming. I was wondering." Click, hung up. He tried a second one. "Brother Jong, it's Siming. Could I borrow some?" "Hwasiming, you have the balls to call me. My company just got blacklisted by Xinghua Capital because of you. You know that. Screw off." Click, third, fourth, fifth. Either they didn't pick up or they picked up just to curse him out before hanging up. Hwasiming gripped his phone, standing in the middle of the street, a sudden chill running through him. He remembered 10 years ago, the first time he met Lin Yan. She was running a street store back then. He had passed by and helped her push her cart. Later, when she made it big, he reaped the benefits. Everywhere he went, people called him President Hua and accepted his business cards with both hands. And now he scrolled to the very last number, his mother. After a moment of hesitation, he dialed. "Hello, Mom, Siming." His mother's voice was frantic. "What's going on?" "A group of people just came to the village saying you're in trouble and that we have to pay back your debts. Your father's blood pressure is through the roof." Hwasiming's head buzzed. "Mom, don't panic, I'm fine, it's just..." "You're fine? Then why are they at our door? They even posted some public notice saying you're a fraud, Siming. What on earth have you been doing out there?" Hwasiming couldn't speak. The background noise on the other end became chaotic, shouting, dogs barking, and his mother's sharp gasp. Mom, what are you doing? Don't tear that down." His mother screamed. "This is my house, you have no right to post that here." Hwasiming gripped the phone, listening to the chaos, when a realization hit him like a ton of bricks. The 3 houses he had bought for his mother were in her name, but the money had come directly from the company accounts. He was finished. He hung up, slumped onto the curb and buried his face in his knees. Passers-by glanced at him and gave him a wide berth. After a long while he stood up and started walking. Where to, he didn't know. Eventually he found himself on a familiar street, a street from 10 years ago. This was where Lin Yan used to have her stall, selling socks, scarves, and trinkets. He had just moved to the city for work back then. Passing by after his shift, he saw her struggling to push her 3-wheeler up the slope and gave her a hand. After that, he came every day. He helped her push the cart, pack up the stall, and dodge the city inspectors. Later, when she said she wanted to start a company, he joined her. As the company grew, he became more prestigious, and she became busier. He began to feel resentful. Why was she the boss while he was just an employee? Why did she call the shots while he just had to listen? How could a woman be better than him? He didn't want to understand why. He just knew he wanted to take the company for himself, so he started siphoning assets, winning over the staff, and keeping women on the side, telling himself this was how a successful man was supposed to live. He thought he had everything under control, until yesterday. Hwasiming stood on the sidewalk, looking at an old man selling roasted sweet potatoes across the street, and felt like a total joke. A black sedan drove past, splashing dirty water all over him. He was about to curse when he looked up. He recognized that license plate. It was Lin Yan's car. The car pulled over ahead and the rear window rolled down, revealing Lin Yan's face. She looked at him but said nothing. Hwasiming stood there, drenched in filth, looking like a drowned rat. They stared at each other for 5 seconds across the distance. Then the window rolled up and the car drove away. Hua Siming clenched his fists so hard his nails dug into his palms. His phone buzzed. He looked down to see a news alert exclusive. New CEO of Siming Tech debuts today. Mysterious powerhouse steps forward. Xinghua Capital founder Lin Yan takes personal command. Vows full investigation into former executives' financial crimes. The accompanying photo was of him, Hua Siming, disheveled, covered in grime and slumped on a curb. He had no idea when it had been taken. He hurled his phone onto the ground. The screen shattered. The next morning at 8:00 am, Hua Siming stood at the entrance of Siming Tech's headquarters. He had changed his clothes. He'd spent the night in a 24-hour fast food joint and bought a 50 yuan t-shirt from a roadside stall at dawn. It was the cheapest thing he'd ever worn in his life. He took a deep breath and pushed through the doors. "Hello sir, how can I help you?" The receptionist blocked his path. Hua Siming blinked. Was she new? She didn't recognize him. I'm here to pick up some things," he said. "My old office is on the 58th floor. The receptionist looked him up and down, her eyes wary. "Do you have an appointment?" "An appointment?" Hua Siming scoffed. "I was the CEO here for 5 years. I need an appointment to get my own things." The girl's expression shifted. "Are you Mr. Hua?" "Yes." She hesitated, then picked up the phone. "1 moment please, I'll check." Hua Siming waited impatiently. 5 minutes later the elevator doors opened and a young man in a black suit stepped out. "Mr. Hua, hello." The young man approached him with professional courtesy. "I'm Xiao Ju, President Lin's assistant. She's asked for you to come up." Hua Siming gave a cold snort and stepped into the elevator. The elevator ascended, the floor numbers ticking up from 1 to 58. The doors opened. He stepped out and headed toward his office. Then he stopped dead in his tracks. The office door was ajar and voices drifted out from within. He walked over and peered inside. Lin Yan was sitting in his spot. That custom-made leather executive chair, which had cost him 300,000, was now occupied by Lin Yan. She was reviewing documents while several executives stood beside her, their heads bowed like elementary students who had just been scolded. Hua Siming stood at the entrance, momentarily speechless. Lin Yan looked up and caught his eye. "You're here, come in, take a seat." Her tone was calm, as if she were merely hosting an ordinary guest. Hua Siming walked into the office and stood across from her. He knew this office all too well, the floor-to-ceiling windows, the river view, the mahogany bookshelves. He had handpicked every single item. But the person sitting there now wasn't him. "Sit down." Lin Yan pointed toward the nearby sofa. Hua Siming remained standing. "I'm here to get my things," he said. "Personal items." "Fine." Lin Yan nodded. "What things? I'll have someone help you look." "No need, I'll find them myself." He walked over to the bookshelf and opened the bottom cabinet. The safe was supposed to be there. It was empty. He froze, looking for this. Lin Yan pulled a folder from her drawer and placed it on the desk. Hua Siming saw it clearly. It was the ledger for his private stash. His face turned ashen. How did you get this?" Lin Yan didn't answer. She just watched him. Hua Siming clenched his fists. "Lin Yan, what exactly are you trying to do?" "What am I trying to do?" Lin Yan stood up and walked to the window, her back to him. "Hua Siming, do you have any idea how much money you've siphoned from this company over the last 5 years?" Hua Siming remained silent. 800 million, Lin Yan said, turning around. 800,327,000 to be exact. You transferred it to your own accounts, your mother's name, your uncle's company, and offshore. Did you really think I couldn't track it? So what if you did? Hua Siming spat, gritting his teeth. The money is already gone, you can't get it back. As for the company, investigate all you want. I don't have a cent to my name anyway. Lin Yan looked at him and suddenly laughed. Hua Siming, do you know why I didn't make a move against you for 5 years? Hua Siming blinked, stunned. Because I was waiting, Lin Yan said. Waiting for you to transfer every last cent. Waiting for every piece of evidence to surface. Waiting for the moment you felt you had victory in your grasp, and then I'd take it all down in one go. Hua Siming's head throbbed. What do you mean? Without a word, Lin Yan picked up the remote and pressed a button. The large screen on the wall flickered to life. It showed a bank statement. The recipient was Hua Siming's offshore account, but the sender was a company he had never seen before. You opened this account 3 months ago. Lin Yan explained. You moved 800 million into it and then you planned to move it again, didn't you? Hua Siming turned white as a sheet. But you couldn't move it, Lin Yan continued, because the day after you made that deposit, the account was frozen. Impossible, Hua Siming screamed. I opened that account personally. I'm the only one with the password. You opened it personally, Lin Yan smirked. When you opened it, did you bother to check the list of shareholders for that bank? Huasiming went numb. Lin Yan pressed the remote again. The screen switched to show the bank's ownership information. The majority shareholder, with a 51% stake, Xinghua Capital. Huasiming's legs buckled. He nearly collapsed to his knees. I acquired that bank 3 years ago, Lin Yan said. The offshore division was set up specifically for you. Huasiming's mouth hung open, but he couldn't find his voice for a long time. 800 million. Every cent is right here with me. Lin Yan tossed the folder onto the desk. Now, let's settle the bill. Huasiming's lips trembled, but nothing came out. Asset stripping, embezzlement of company funds, the amounts are staggering, Lin Yan said, under the criminal code. That's 10 years minimum. Add to that the fraudulent contracts you signed to swindle bank loans, consecutive sentencing. She paused. Huasiming, you might just spend the rest of your life behind bars. Huasiming's knees gave out and he hit the floor. Lin Yan. He crawled toward her, reaching for her legs. Lin Yan. I was wrong, I was really wrong. Forgive me just this once. I'll give all the money back. I won't take anything. I'll do whatever you want. Lin Yan stepped back, avoiding his touch. 10 years, she said. We were together for 10 years. In those 10 years, how did I treat you? Huasiming nodded frantically. Good, you were good to me. I know it. I was heartless. I was a monster. Lin Yan, for the sake of those 10 years. 10 years. Lin Yan cut him off. When exactly did you start siphoning the assets? Huasiming went silent. The 5th year, Lin Yan answered for him. In our 5th year together, just as the company was getting on track, you started your move. That year I was only sleeping 3 hours a night. I worked myself into the hospital with a stomach hemorrhage. What were you doing? Huasiming kept his head down, unable to look at her. You were keeping women on the side, Lin Yan said. The first was your secretary, the second was a partner's daughter, the third, the fourth. I counted 7 in total. Huasiming was shaking uncontrollably. I knew about all of them, Lin Yan said. I knew from the very first one. Then why didn't you? Why didn't I expose you? Lin Yan laughed. Because I wanted to see how far you would go. She crouched down to look the kneeling Huasiming in the eye. Huasiming, you've been a massive disappointment, she said. I thought you'd have at least a shred of conscience left. But in the end, you don't even have a basic bottom line. Huasiming looked up at her, his eyes reddening. Lin Yan, I really know I was wrong. Give me one more chance, I promise. A chance. Lin Yan stood back up. I gave you a chance 3 years ago. I said something to you, do you remember? Huasiming blinked, confused. I said, Huasiming, if you've done anything behind my back, tell me now and I can forgive you once. Lin Yan stared at him. And how did you respond? Huasiming remembered one night 3 years ago, Lin Yan had suddenly asked him that. At the time he thought she had found something out and was scared to death. But when she didn't seem out of the ordinary afterward, he figured it was just a random question. How had he answered? I said. His throat was dry. I said I never did anything to betray you, Lin Yan nodded. Exactly, you said those words. She turned, walked back behind her desk and sat down. Security. 2 guards pushed the door open. Escort Mr. Hua out, Lin Yan said. From now on, he is not allowed in this building without my permission. The guards hoisted Huasiming up and began dragging him out. Lin Yan, Huasiming screamed, struggling. You can't do this, Lin Yan. I suffered with you for 10 years. You can't treat me like this. Lin Yan ignored him, looking back down at her documents. Huasiming was dragged out of the office, into the elevator, through the lobby and thrown out the front doors. He tumbled onto the pavement, skinning his knees. Blood began to seep through. Passers-by glanced at him and walked around. He lay on the ground, unable to get up for a long time. His phone buzzed. He pulled it out and saw a text message. Mr. Huasiming, you are under formal investigation for suspected embezzlement. Please report to the XX District People's Procuratorate within 3 days for questioning. Failure to comply will result in compulsory measures according to the law. As he read the text, his hands shook violently. In the distance, a black sedan slowly drove past. The window rolled down, revealing a young face, the other woman, Sunyanien. She looked at him, her expression calm, without a hint of emotion. Then the window rolled up and the car drove away. Huasiming lay on the ground and a sudden thought struck him. That day at the annual gala, when she was clutching her stomach and crying out in pain before being taken away by the ambulance, she had glanced at Lin Yan. He hadn't thought much of that glance at the time. Thinking back now, something wasn't right. Huasiming spent 3 days at the hospital, not as a patient, but sitting on a bench in the ER lobby. He had nowhere else to go. He couldn't afford a hotel, his friends wouldn't pick up, and he didn't dare go back to his hometown. The authorities were looking for him. On the third morning, he remembered someone, Sunyani N, the woman carrying his child. Wasn't she taken away in an ambulance? She should still be in the hospital, right? She was carrying his blood. No matter how ruthless Lin Yan was, she couldn't kill the child, could she? He stood up and headed toward the maternity ward. After asking around, he found Sunyani N's room, a private VIP suite on the 12th floor. He took the elevator up, found room 1208 and pushed the door open. Sunyani N was lying in bed, scrolling through her phone. She froze when she saw him, then smiled. President Hua, what are you doing here? Hua Siming stood in the doorway, taking her in. She was in a hospital gown, her complexion was rosy, and her belly, did it look smaller? Where's the baby? He asked. Sunyani N patted her stomach. Right here, safe and sound. Hua Siming took 2 steps closer. Let me ask you, that day at the gala, do you and Lin Yan know each other? Sunyani N blinked. Lin Yan, your ex-girlfriend, how could I possibly know her? Then why were you looking at her? I was looking at her. Sunyani N laughed. President Hua, has the stress made you delusional? I was in agonizing pain. I didn't have time to look at anyone. Hua Siming stared at her, trying to find a crack in her expression. But she smiled with such innocence, exactly as she had 3 months ago when they first met. That smile was what had drawn him in. That night at the bar, she was sitting alone in a white dress, her smile so sweet. He had gone over to buy her a drink, and she said she was still a student and didn't drink. He ordered her a juice instead. They talked all night and they exchanged WeChats. Later, he asked her to dinner, and she came. Later, he bought her gifts, and she accepted. Even later, he took her to a hotel and she didn't refuse. He thought he was just that charming. Looking back now, it was all a little too smooth. President Hua, Sunyani N's voice pulled him back to reality. Is there a reason you came to see me today? Hua Siming snapped out of it. Money, money. Lin Yan knows about the pregnancy. She definitely hates you, Hua Siming said. We're in the same boat now. You have to help me. Sunyani N tilted her head. Help you with what? Testify for me, Hua Siming said. Say that Lin Yan put you up to seducing me, that it was a setup, that way I can countersue her for entrapment. Sunyani N stared at him for a moment, then burst out laughing. President Hua, are you confused? She said. You were the one who pursued me. How exactly does that become a setup? Hua Siming grew desperate. What do you mean you won't help me? Why should I? Sunyani N looked at him sideways. You gave me some money and bought me some bags, but I earned those with my own efforts. Now that you're in trouble, what does that have to do with me? Hua Siming was stunned. He didn't expect this woman to turn on him faster than flipping a page in a book. Don't forget, you're carrying my child, he roared. If that baby is born, you're the mother. You think you can just walk away? Sunyani N looked down at her belly, then looked up and smiled at him. President Hua, there's something I've been meaning to tell you. Hua Siming's heart skipped a beat. Actually, Sunyani N said slowly, the baby isn't yours. Hua Siming's head exploded. What did you say? I said the baby isn't yours. Sunyani N pulled a piece of paper from her nightstand and handed it to him. See for yourself. Hua Siming snatched it. It was a DNA paternity test report. Client Sunyani N samples fetal amniocentesis. Hua Siming's hair. Conclusion: biological relationship excluded. His hands shook so hard the paper rattled. This is impossible. Why is it impossible? Sunyani N shrugged. We only slept together those few times and I made sure to check the calendar. I only met you when I was in my safe period. Hua Siming stared at her as if seeing her for the first time. You were playing me from the very start. Sunyani N didn't answer, she just kept smiling. Hua Siming lunged forward, intending to wrap his hands around her throat. Suddenly, the door burst open. 2 nurses rushed in, followed by a security guard. Sir, what are you doing? A nurse shoved him away. Hua Siming staggered back but caught his balance. He pointed at Sunyani N. She lied to me. The baby in her stomach isn't mine. The nurse glanced at him, then at Sunyani N. Her eyes held a flicker of pity for Hua Siming. Sir, please leave. The guard blocked him. This is a hospital room, no trouble allowed. I'm not leaving. I want the truth from her. Sir, if you don't leave, we're calling the police. The police. Hua Siming froze. The police were the last people he wanted to deal with right now. He shot Sunyani N a venomous glare before spinning around and marching away. As he reached the elevator, a detail suddenly clicked in his mind. The date on that DNA paternity test was a month ago. A month ago, she had already undergone the amniocentesis. That meant she had known all along that the baby wasn't his. Then why didn't she say anything sooner? Why wait until now? The elevator doors slid open, he stepped inside. His mind a chaotic mess. When he reached the first floor, he stepped out and collided head-on with someone. I'm sorry, he apologized reflexively, but when he looked up he was paralyzed. It was Lin Yan. She was standing by the elevator bank in a beige trench coat, staring at him. Huasiming recoiled, his back hitting the interior wall of the elevator. What are you doing here? Lin Yan didn't answer, she just looked at him. Her gaze was cold, the way one looks at a corpse. Suddenly realization dawned on him. It was you, he shouted. It was all a setup. You planted that woman. Lin Yan remained silent. Say something, damn it. Huasiming lunged forward, reaching for her collar. Suddenly 2 men in black suits intercepted him, pinning him against the wall. Huasiming, Lin Yan finally spoke, her voice eerily calm. I suggest you calm down. Huasiming was pressed against the wall, his face mashed against the cold tiles, gasping for breath. That girl, Lin Yan said. Her name is Sunyan, not Sunyanien. Huasiming blinked, confused. Sunyan, Lin Yan repeated. Does that name sound familiar to you at all? Huasiming's mind raced. Sunyan. Suddenly, a memory surfaced. 10 years ago there was a woman, also surnamed Su. She had been Lin Yan's mentor, a businesswoman in the garment industry. Back then Lin Yan worked under her. Later that woman died, a heart attack in her office. What was her name again? Su what? Remember now, Lin Yan's voice cut through his thoughts. Her name was Su Jin. Her daughter's name is Sunyan. Huasiming shuddered violently. What are you getting at? How did Su Jin die 10 years ago? Lin Yan asked. Huasiming went silent. If you won't say it, I will. Lin Yan's voice turned ice cold. 10 years ago, to get your hands on her client list, you planted a virus in her computer that crashed her entire system. She rushed to the office in the middle of the night to handle the crisis, suffered a massive heart attack and died right there at her desk. I didn't. Huasiming roared. It wasn't me. She was already sick. Lin Yan echoed. Right, she had a condition, a heart condition, but if you hadn't pulled that stunt she wouldn't have died. Huasiming struggled against his captors. You have no proof. That was 10 years ago. No proof. Lin Yan smirked. Huasiming, why do you think I waited 5 years? Huasiming froze. I didn't wait 5 years to track down your 800 million, Lin Yan said. I waited to uncover what happened 10 years ago. She pulled a file folder from her bag and dropped it on the floor. See for yourself. Huasiming was pinned and couldn't move. Lin Yan signaled the security guards to release him. He knelt down, picked up the folder and opened it. Inside were chat logs. They were logs between him and a hacker dated 10 years ago. Content: infiltrate Su Jin's company system, delete client data, reward 20,000 yuan. Huasiming's hands shook uncontrollably. How did you get this? That hacker was arrested 3 years ago, Lin Yan said. He gave you up. Huasiming's mouth hung open but no words came out. 10 years ago, for a mere 20,000 yuan, you caused someone's death. Lin Yan stared at him. That person was the only family I had left. Huasiming looked up at her, his eyes welling with tears. Lin Yan, I didn't know she would die. I just wanted the client list. I didn't think what? Lin Yan interrupted. Didn't think she'd have a heart attack or didn't think I'd find you. Huasiming fell silent. Sunyan has been studying abroad for the past 3 years, Lin Yan said. She came back 3 months ago. I told her, help me do one thing, help me find the evidence to make him confess. Huasiming's head throbbed. So from the very beginning it was a trap. Lin Yan said, that college student you kept as a mistress, she's Su Jin's daughter. She got close to you just for this day. Huasiming's legs gave out again and he fell to his knees this time. He truly broke. Lin Yan, I beg you. He prostrated himself, kowtowing repeatedly. I'll do anything. I'll go to prison. Just leave my parents out of this. They didn't know anything. Lin Yan ignored him and turned toward the elevator. As the doors began to close, she spoke one last time. Huasiming, 10 years ago when Su Jin was dying, where were you? The doors shut. Huasiming knelt on the floor, watching the floor numbers count down 1, 2, 3. His mind was a total blank. The day Huasiming was formally arrested by the Procuratorate, the news went viral. Former CEO of Siming Tech suspected of embezzlement. Huasiming arrested. Lin Yan personally sends ex-boyfriend to jail. The comment sections were filled with cheers. Scumbags like him belong behind bars. Swindled money and feelings and even caused a death. Give him life. Sister Lin is such a badass. Total respect. Hua Siming spent 3 days in the detention center and lost 10 pounds. On the third day, his lawyer came to see him. Mr. Hua. Things look grim, the lawyer said, getting straight to the point. The prosecution has airtight evidence, the transfer records for the 800 million, the fraudulent contracts, and then there's the matter from 10 years ago. Hua Siming interrupted. What evidence do they have for 10 years ago? The hacker's testimony. The lawyer said, plus a transfer record showing you sent him 20,000 yuan back then. Hua Siming fell silent. Mr. Hua, I'll be honest with you, the lawyer sighed. Your best bet is to plead guilty and cooperate in hopes of a lighter sentence. If you fight this with all the charges combined, you're looking at 15 years or more. 15 years. Hua Siming's ears rang. He was 35, he'd be 50 by the time he got out. I want to see Lin Yan, he said. The lawyer paused. Well, she might not want to see you. Set it up for me, Hua Siming insisted. Tell her I have something to say, something about the truth of what happened 10 years ago. 3 days later, Lin Yan arrived in the visitation room. They stared at each other through the glass for 10 seconds. Hua Siming was gaunt and unrecognizable, his eyes sunken, his face covered in stubble. Lin Yan sat opposite him in a sharp black suit, her hair pinned up, looking radiant. What do you want to say? Lin Yan asked. Hua Siming took a deep breath. Lin Yan, I'm sorry. Lin Yan said nothing. I know whatever I say now is useless, Hua Siming continued. But I really didn't know she would die. I just wanted the client list. I didn't know she had a heart condition. Enough. Lin Yan cut him off. Save it for the judge. Hua Siming became frantic. Lin Yan, can't you give me a chance? 10 years. We were together for 10 years. Don't you have any feelings left at all? Lin Yan looked at him, her eyes as calm as a stagnant pool. Hua Siming, do you know why I waited 5 years? Hua Siming blinked. Because I wanted to see if you had even a shred of conscience left. Lin Yan said. For 5 years I gave you countless opportunities. Every time I came home at midnight after working overtime, you were already asleep, not even a glass of water left out for me. Every time I was hospitalized, you said you were too busy to visit. Every time I found a trace of your illegal transfers, I told myself, wait a bit longer, maybe he'll stop. She paused. But you never stopped. Hua Siming opened his mouth but no words came. Do you know when the very last time I gave you a chance was? Lin Yan asked. Hua Siming shook his head. 3 months ago, Lin Yan said. That night I made dinner and waited for you. I wanted to have a real talk if you were willing to stop. I was prepared to let the past go. Hua Siming remembered that night. He had been out having dinner with Sun Yan. By the time he got back it was 1:00 am. Lin Yan was sitting in the living room, and the food on the table had long since gone cold. He had barely spared her a glance, said nothing, and went straight to the bedroom to sleep. That night I waited for you for 5 hours, Lin Yan said. I reheated the food 3 times until it finally went cold for good. Hua Siming lowered his head. Hua Siming, I gave you chances, Lin Yan said, standing up. You're the one who threw them away. She turned to leave. Lin Yan, Hua Siming called out. What are you going to do about Su Jin's case? Lin Yan stopped and looked back at him. What am I going to do? She smiled. I'm going to let her daughter watch you walk into that cell with her own eyes. Hua Siming froze. Sun Yan is waiting outside, Lin Yan said. She's been waiting for this day for 10 years. With that she pushed the door open and walked out. Hua Siming sat there staring at the closed door, his mind a void. Outside the visitation room, Sun Yan was sitting on a bench. When she saw Lin Yan come out, she stood up. Sister Lin. Lin Yan nodded. Let's go. The two of them walked out, passing through corridor after corridor, through one iron gate after another. How did he react? Sun Yan asked. How do you think? Lin Yan said. Begged me to let him go. Sun Yan fell silent for a moment. Sister Lin, do you really feel nothing at all? Lin Yan stopped walking and looked at her. Sun Yan, let me tell you something. Sun Yan nodded. 10 years ago when your mother died I was there, Lin Yan said. Sun Yan was stunned. That night I went to the office to see your mother to discuss opening a branch, Lin Yan said. I saw Hua Siming at the entrance. He was running out of her office, looking panicked. When I went inside, your mother was on the floor. She was already gone. Sun Yan's eyes filled with tears. I didn't know what he had done at the time, Lin Yan continued. I thought it was just a coincidence. Then the police came and ruled it a sudden heart attack, so the case was closed. She paused. But I didn't believe it. Sun Yan looked at her. Your mother was always in good health. How could she just have a heart attack out of nowhere? Lin Yan said. I started investigating. I searched for 2 years before I finally found that hacker. Sun Yan clenched her fists. For 20,000 yuan, Huasiming. Destroyed your mother's life, Lin Yan said, and he destroyed 10 years of yours. Sun Yan lowered her head, her shoulders trembling slightly. Lin Yan reached out and gently patted her back. Let's go, she said. I'll handle the rest. 1 month later the trial began. Huasiming stood in the defendant's dock. Clad in a prison jumpsuit with his head shaven, he was a world away from the once glamorous President Hua. The prosecutor read the indictment: embezzlement of company funds involving an exceptionally large amount, loan fraud, infringement of trade secrets, and the events of 10 years ago, which, though not charged directly, served as a factor for sentencing. Huasiming kept his head low, not uttering a single word. Then came the time for witnesses to testify. The first witness was the hacker. Testifying via video link, he provided a detailed account of how Huasiming had approached him 10 years ago, how he was instructed to infiltrate Su Jin's company system to delete client data, and how a payment of 20,000 yuan was transferred. The second witness was Sun Yan. She stepped up to the stand and looked directly at Huasiming in the dock. Huasiming looked back at her, his gaze a complex swirl of emotions. Witness, please state your testimony, the judge directed. Sun Yan took a deep breath. My name is Sun Yan. Su Jin was my mother. When she passed away 10 years ago, I had just turned 18. Her voice was calm, yet every person in the courtroom heard her clearly. After my mother's death, I was forced to drop out of school and seek refuge with relatives abroad. Sun Yan continued. All these years I've been investigating the cause of her death. It wasn't until 3 years ago that I secured the hacker's testimony. She turned her gaze toward Huasiming. That was when I realized my mother's death was no accident. Huasiming lowered his head. Upon returning to the country under Sister Lin Yan's arrangement, I got close to Huasiming. Sun Yan said, I spent 3 months gathering evidence of his asset stripping and loan fraud, as well as a recording of him personally admitting to sabotaging my mother's company system. A stir rippled through the gallery. The recording was played in court. Huasiming's voice crackled through the speakers. About that business with Su Jin, I didn't have a choice. Her company was too profitable. If I hadn't taken her down, she would have dominated the market. Standing on the witness stand, tears streamed down Sun Yan's face, but she didn't wipe them away. Huasiming looked up at her. In that moment, he finally understood one thing. From the very beginning, he never stood a chance of winning. The hearing concluded. The judge announced a recess, with the formal sentencing to be delivered on a later date. As the bailiffs led Huasiming away, he stole one last look at Lin Yan. Lin Yan sat in the gallery, her expression unreadable. They locked eyes for 3 seconds across the crowded room, then Huasiming was gone. The day the verdict was delivered was bright and sunny. Huasiming stood in the dock as the judge read the sentencing. The defendant, Huasiming, is found guilty of embezzlement and sentenced to 12 years of imprisonment, guilty of loan fraud and sentenced to 5 years. For the combined crimes, the court orders a total sentence of 15 years. 15 years, his ears rang. He didn't hear a single word that followed. The bailiff stepped forward to handcuff him and lead him down. As he passed the gallery, he saw Lin Yan. She was still sitting there wearing a black dress, her hair down, her face devoid of expression. Sun Yan sat beside her. 2 women, one he had loved, one he had slept with, now both loathed him to the core. Huasiming stopped, wanting to say something, but a bailiff shoved him. Keep moving. He was pushed forward. Just before reaching the door, he suddenly turned and screamed, Lin Yan, are you satisfied now? Lin Yan didn't acknowledge him. He was led out of the courtroom and loaded onto the prison van. As the van started moving, he looked through the iron bars at the streets, the pedestrians, and the cars, all fading into the distance. This was the last time he would see the world as a free man. For the next 15 years, he would only see it through a barred window. The van arrived at the detention center. He was escorted out, through one iron gate after another, and finally locked into a cramped cell. The moment the door slammed shut, he slumped down and buried his face in his knees. He wept. After an unknown amount of time, there was a knock on the door. Huasiming, you have a visitor. He was stunned. Who would come to see him? In the visitation room, he saw the last person he expected, Lin Yan. She sat behind the glass, dressed simply, her face free of makeup, looking somewhat softer than she had in court. Huasiming walked over, sat down and picked up the receiver. Why are you here? Lin Yan looked at him, remaining silent for a few seconds. There's something I never told you, she said. Huasiming's heart sank. What is it? It's about your mother. Huasiming's face paled. What happened to My mother, she's fine, Lin Yan said, but she asked me to give you a message. Huasiming stared at her, waiting for the words. She said she knows everything you've done, Lin Yan said. She said she doesn't blame you but she won't be looking after you anymore. Huasiming froze. What does that mean? It means she's severing her maternal ties with you, Lin Yan stated. She surrendered the 3 houses, she's living in the countryside now, getting by on farming. Huasiming opened his mouth but no sound came out. And my dad, he asked. Your father, Lin Yan paused. Your father passed away last month. Huasiming's head exploded. What? On the day you were arrested, his blood pressure spiked, Lin Yan said. The ambulance didn't get there in time. By the time it arrived he was already gone. Huasiming's hands shook so violently he nearly dropped the receiver. You're lying, he said. You're lying to me. Lin Yan watched him, silent. I called my mom last week, he roared. She didn't say anything was wrong with Dad. When you called last week your father was already gone, Lin Yan said. Your mother didn't tell you because she was afraid you'd do something drastic in here. Huasiming collapsed back into his chair, the receiver clattering to the floor. Lin Yan picked up the receiver and spoke one last line. Huasiming, this is the debt you owe. She hung up the phone and rose to leave. Huasiming sat there watching her silhouette disappear through the door. He opened his mouth to scream but nothing came out. Tears blurred his vision. He remembered 10 years ago, the first time he met Lin Yan. She was running a street stall. He was a factory worker. One day, passing by after his shift, he saw her struggling to push her 3-wheeler up a slope and gave her a hand. After that, he came every day to help her push the cart and pack the stall. Later, when she wanted to start a company, he went in with her. Back then, he felt that as long as he could be with her, his life was worth it. When did it all start to change? Was it after the company grew, after he met those wealthy socialites? Or was it the first time he cheated? He didn't know. He only knew that now everything was gone. Lin Yan, the company, the money, his reputation, his family, all gone. He huddled on the floor, his head buried in his knees, his shoulders racking with sobs. Outside, a guard peered through the small window, took one look and shook his head. Huasiming spent 3 months in the detention center. In those 3 months he lost 20 pounds and half his hair turned white every day. He thought about the same thing. What would his life be like now if he hadn't done those things? Maybe he and Lin Yan would be married. Maybe they'd have children. Maybe he'd still be the CEO, spending his days in meetings, signing papers, and attending banquets. But he had destroyed it all himself. On the last day of the 3rd month, he received a letter. Sender, Lin Yan. With trembling hands, he tore open the envelope and pulled out the paper. There was only one line. In 10 years I wrote you 365 letters. This is the last one. Huasiming froze. 365 letters. He remembered something 10 years ago when they first got together. Lin Yan told him she would write him a letter every day for 10 years and give them to him on his birthday. He thought she was just joking. Later she really did write every day, but he never bothered to look at them. He always felt that letters were too old-fashioned, too sentimental, better to just send a WeChat. Only now did he realize she had truly written them for 10 years. 365 letters, each one filled with her words. He crouched in his cell, staring at that single line as tears fell onto the paper. He wanted to write back, but he didn't know what to say. I'm sorry, too hollow, I was wrong, too late. He held the paper for a long time. Finally, he folded it carefully and pressed it against his chest. That night, he had a dream. In the dream he was back on that street 10 years ago. Lin Yan was pushing her 3-wheeler up the slope, and he ran over to help. She turned to look at him and smiled. That smile was brighter than the sun. Flashback 3 months ago, on the afternoon the verdict was delivered. Lin Yan stepped out of the courtroom and into her car. Sun Yan sat beside her, her eyes red but a smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. Sister Lin, thank you. Lin Yan glanced at her. For what? For letting me see him go in with my own eyes, Sun Yan said. My mother can finally rest in peace. Lin Yan said nothing and started the engine. The car drove slowly through the city and eventually pulled up at a cemetery. The 2 women got out and walked inside. They stopped before a headstone. The inscription read, Grave of Su Jin. Lin Yan knelt down and placed a bouquet of white chrysanthemums at the grave. Sun Yan stood beside her, looking at her mother's photo on the headstone, her tears flowing again. Mom, she whispered, her voice trembling. Huasiming got 15 years. A breeze swept through, causing the white chrysanthemums to sway gently. Sister Lin spent the last 5 years investigating. Sun Yan continued. She found the hacker, the transfer records, every piece of evidence. When I came back, she arranged for me to get close to him so I could personally get his confession." She paused. "Mom, you can rest now." Lin Yan stood up and patted her shoulder. "Let's go," she said. They turned and walked back toward the exit. At the cemetery gate, Lin Yan suddenly stopped. Sun Yan followed her gaze. There was a figure standing by the entrance, a woman in her 50s, grey-haired, wearing an old padded coat, her back hunched. It was Huasiming's mother. Lin Yan looked at her, silent. The older woman walked over and stopped in front of Lin Yan. "President Lin," she said, her voice raspy, "I've come to beg for your forgiveness." Lin Yan didn't move. Hua's mother suddenly sank to her knees. "Auntie," Sun Yan gasped, startled, and reached out to help her up. The mother waved her off. Refusing to stand, "President Lin, I know my Siming did you wrong." She knelt on the ground, looking up at Lin Yan. "He did so many terrible things and hurt so many people. As his mother, I share that burden." Lin Yan's eyes softened with a complex mix of emotions. "I've surrendered the 3 houses." The mother continued, "His father said before he passed that we should return them to you. We won't keep ill-gotten gains." Lin Yan finally spoke. "Please stand up." Hua's mother shook her head. "I won't. I have something to say." She paused. "President Lin, I know Siming betrayed you, but when he was a boy, he wasn't like this. He was a good child. He'd fetch water for the village elders and tutor the neighbors' kids. After he went to the city to work, he slowly began to change." As she spoke, tears began to fall. "I don't know how he turned into this," she choked out. "Maybe we didn't raise him right. Maybe the city had too many temptations." "President Lin, I'll kowtow to you on his behalf." As she spoke, she truly bowed her head to the ground. Lin Yan stepped forward and caught her. "Auntie," she said, "there's no need for this." Hua's mother looked up, her face drenched in tears. "President Lin, I'm not asking you to forgive him," she said. "I only ask one thing. Tell me, during these 15 years he's inside, could you visit him once in a while?" The mother pleaded. "He's never suffered a day in his life. I'm afraid he won't make it in there." Lin Yan was silent for a few seconds. "I will," she said. Hua's mother was stunned. "I will visit him," Lin Yan repeated. "But I will not forgive him." Hua's mother nodded, tears streaming down her face once more. That's enough," she murmured. "Just knowing you'll visit is enough." Lin Yan helped her up and gently brushed the dust off her knees. "Auntie, what are your plans for the future?" Hua's mother wiped her eyes. "I'm going back to the countryside to farm. My husband left behind 2 acres. I can still grow something there." Lin Yan took a card from her bag and handed it to her. Hua's mother froze. There's 500,000 on it," Lin Yan said. "It's not much, but it's enough for you to live on." Hua's mother tried to push it back. No, I can't take your money." "Take it." Lin Yan pressed the card into her palm. "This isn't for Huasiming. It's for you." Hua's mother held the card, her hands trembling violently. "President Lin, you are a good person," she sobbed. "My Siming, he didn't deserve such luck." Lin Yan said nothing. She turned and walked away. Sun Yan hurried to catch up. "Sister Lin, why did you give her money?" Lin Yan didn't answer. "Her son killed my mother and nearly bankrupted you, and you still gave her money." Lin Yan stopped and looked back at her. "Sun Yan," she said, "hating someone and doing a good deed are 2 different things." Sun Yan was stunned. "I hate Huasiming. I hate him to my core," Lin Yan said. "But his mother is innocent, his father is dead, and she's all alone now. Helping her out is the right thing to do." Sun Yan fell silent for a few seconds, then nodded slowly. "Sister Lin, you are more generous than I am." Lin Yan smiled. "It's not about generosity, it's about empathy." She paused. "If my mother were still alive, I wouldn't want people to treat her poorly just because of something her son did." Sun Yan looked at her, a sudden realization dawning on her. The 2 got into the car and drove off. As they passed through an old district, Lin Yan suddenly slowed down. Sun Yan looked out the window at an old street lined with small shops selling all sorts of things. "Where are we?" "This is where I used to have my street stall 10 years ago," Lin Yan said. Sun Yan blinked and looked closer. The street was the same, but the shops had changed owners many times over. The vendors from back then were likely long gone. The car crawled forward, and Lin Yan's gaze settled on a specific corner. "Right there," she said. "That's where I had my stall selling socks and scarves." Sun Yan followed her gaze. There was a bubble tea shop there now. "Back then I'd push my 3-wheeler every day, getting stock from the wholesale market and setting up right there," Lin Yan continued. "One time, during a heavy rain, I was pushing the cart up the slope. I couldn't make it and almost slid back down. A man ran over and helped me push it to the top." Sun Yan knew exactly who she was talking about. Hua Siming. Back then he was a good man, Lin Yan said. He helped me push the cart, pack up the stall and deal with the city inspectors. I thought we could go on like that forever. She paused. I learned later that people change. Sun Yan looked at her, not knowing what to say. The car drove past the street and headed into the distance. In the rearview mirror, the old street grew smaller and smaller until it vanished into the flow of traffic. Hua Siming had been in the detention center for 6 months. In those 6 months, he had learned many things. He learned how to live in a 10 square meter room with 5 other men, how to shower, eat and exercise at set times, and how to endure loneliness and longing. He longed for many things. He longed for the sunlight, the fresh air of freedom and Lin Yan's cooking. But most of all, he longed for the girl he had helped push a cart 10 years ago. One day during exercise hour, someone called out, Hua Siming, you have a visitor. He was stunned. Who would come to see him? Lin Yan had said she would visit, but that was 3 months ago. He stood up and followed the guard out. In the visitation room he saw someone. It wasn't Lin Yan, it was Sun Yan. She sat behind the glass in a white sweater, her hair down, looking a bit more mature than she had 6 months ago. Hua Siming sat down and picked up the receiver. Why are you here? Sun Yan looked at him, silent for a few moments. To see you, she said. After all, we do go back a bit. Hua Siming gave a bitter laugh. Go back a bit? You're here to mock me, aren't you? Sun Yan said nothing. About your mother, I know. Hua Siming said, I'm sorry. Sun Yan blinked. I know saying sorry is useless now. Hua Siming continued, but I still wanted to say it. What happened back then was my doing. It had nothing to do with you. If you're going to hate someone, hate me. Sun Yan looked at him, her expression unreadable. Hua Siming, do you know something? She said, if you had said those words a few years ago, maybe everything would be different. Hua Siming froze. When my mother died I was 18, Sun Yan said. I was all alone in a foreign country with no family. I dreamt of her every night. Back then I thought if that person would just step forward and admit they were wrong, even just to say I'm sorry, maybe I wouldn't have hated so much. She paused. But you kept hiding, kept denying it, kept telling yourself you did nothing wrong. Hua Siming lowered his head. Now you've admitted it, but it's late, Sun Yan said. Too late. Hua Siming gripped the receiver, his hand shaking. I know it's late, he said. But I mean it. Sun Yan glanced at him but said nothing. The visitation time was up. Sun Yan stood up to leave. Sun Yan, Hua Siming called out. She stopped and looked back. Lin Yan, is she okay? Sun Yan was silent for a few seconds, then said, she's doing great. The company is bigger than ever. She's negotiating a new project right now. They say it could make billions. Hua Siming gave a weak smile. That's good. Sun Yan looked at him and suddenly added, Hua Siming, do you know for the past 6 months Lin Yan has visited your mother every single week? Hua Siming was stunned. Your mother is alone in the village farming. Lin Yan sends her money every month and sends people to check on her. Sun Yan said, after everything you did to her, she's still taking care of your mother. Hua Siming's mouth hung open but no words came. Tell me, is she a fool? Sun Yan finished, then turned and walked away. Hua Siming sat there staring at the closed door, his mind a complete void. Tears blurred his vision. That night, he couldn't sleep. He lay on his cot, staring at the ceiling, replaying Sun Yan's words. Lin Yan visited his mother every week. Lin Yan sent her money every month. Lin Yan looked after her. Despite all the ways he had betrayed her, she was taking care of his mother. He remembered 10 years ago, the first time he met Lin Yan. She was running a street stall. He was a factory worker. One day, he helped her push her cart up a slope. Later, he asked her why she worked so hard. She said she had to make money to put a younger sister through school. He asked, you have a sister? She said she wasn't her biological sister. She was her mentor's daughter. Her mentor had passed away and left a daughter behind, and she took it upon herself to raise her. That sister was Sun Yan. At the time, he thought she was a fool, barely able to feed herself, yet worrying about someone else. Now he realized he was the fool. She had never changed. He was the one who changed. She was always giving while he was always taking. She was always loyal while he was always betraying. He closed his eyes and tears rolled down the corners of his eyes. The next morning he made a decision. He wrote a letter and sent it to Lin Yan. There was only one sentence. Thank you for taking care of my mother. If there is a next life, I will push that cart for you forever. Time flew by in the blink of an eye. 2 years had passed since Hua Siming went to prison. Over those 2 years, Lin Yan's company grew exponentially. From technology, it expanded into finance, real estate, and healthcare, becoming a true commercial empire. She became a legend. In the business world, the media gave her a nickname, the Iron Lady, but she rarely accepted interviews or made public appearances, remaining so low-key that one wouldn't guess she was a billionaire. Only a few people knew that she took one day off every week to go to a specific place, the cemetery, to Su Jin's grave. It was a cloudy day when Lin Yan visited again. She knelt before the grave, placed a bouquet of white chrysanthemums and lit 3 sticks of incense. "Mentor," she whispered, "it's been 2 years." The wind blew and the incense smoke curled upward. Huasiming was sentenced to 15 years. He's in prison now, she continued. "Sun Yan is back in the country and helping me at the company. She's doing very well." She paused. "Rest assured I will take good care of her." The sound of footsteps came from behind. Lin Yan turned to see Sun Yan. She was dressed in all black, holding a bouquet of white chrysanthemums of her own. "Sister Lin." She walked over and knelt beside Lin Yan, placing the flowers at the grave. The two sat side by side, looking at the photo on the headstone. In the photo, Su Jin smiled warmly. "Mom," Sun Yan said, "I'm here to see you." The wind picked up, causing the flowers to sway gently. "Sister Lin treats me so well," Sun Yan continued. "She's teaching me everything about the business. I'm her assistant now, learning from her every day." She paused. "Mom, don't worry, I'll work hard." Lin Yan reached out and gently patted her back. They stayed at the grave for a long time, only rising to leave when the sky began to darken. On the way back, Sun Yan suddenly said, "Sister Lin, there's something I want to tell you." I want to see him once," Sun Yan said. "One last time." Lin Yan was surprised for a moment, then nodded. "Okay." 2 days later, Sun Yan appeared in the prison visitation room. Huasiming sat behind the glass. He was thinner than he had been 2 years ago and most of his hair had turned white, but his eyes were much calmer. He was surprised to see Sun Yan. "Why are you here?" Sun Yan sat down and picked up the receiver. "To see you," she said. "One last time." Huasiming nodded and said nothing. A few seconds of silence passed between them. "I came because I wanted to ask you one thing," Sun Yan said. "Ask." "Back then, why did you do it?" Sun Yan asked. "Was my mother not good to you? Was Lin Yan not good to you? Why did you feel you had to destroy them?" Huasiming lowered his head and was silent for a long time. Then he looked up at Sun Yan. "Because of jealousy," he said. Sun Yan was stunned. "I was jealous of them." Huasiming continued. "Jealous of how formidable your mother was, building such a massive company all by herself. Jealous of how hard Lin Yan worked, going from a street vendor to a billionaire, and me, I did nothing, I just followed behind them, picking up the scraps." He gave a bitter smile. "I'm a man, I wanted success too, I wanted to be admired, but I couldn't do it, I lacked the ability and I was too lazy to put in the work, so I thought if I can't have it, I'll destroy it." Sun Yan looked at him, her gaze a complex mix of emotions. "I know it's an excuse," Huasiming said. "It was my own uselessness, I can't blame anyone else, but that was how I thought back then." Sun Yan was silent for a few seconds, then said, "Do you know what my mother said right before she died?" Huasiming looked up at her. She said, "Huasiming has a crooked heart, he'll run into trouble sooner or later." Sun Yan recounted, "She told me to stay away from him." Huasiming froze. "My mother saw right through you long ago," Sun Yan said. "But she didn't blame you, she said you were just a boy who grew up so terrified of being poor that you took the wrong path." Huasiming lowered his head, his shoulders trembling slightly. "Huasiming, I came here today to tell you one thing." Sun Yan stood up. "I forgive you." Huasiming's head snapped up, staring at her in shock. "It's not for your sake," Sun Yan clarified. "It's for mine, I don't want to live my whole life consumed by hate." She turned and walked toward the exit. At the door, she cast one last look back at him. "Reform yourself well, try to get out early, and when you do, live an honest life." The door closed. Huasiming sat there, staring at the door as tears streamed down his face. For the first time in 2 years, he truly cried. Huasiming spent 5 years in prison. In those 5 years, he changed profoundly. His hair had turned completely white, the arrogance was gone from his face, and his eyes had grown peaceful. Every day, he followed the routine of labor, study, and exercise. Occasionally he would read or write letters. The letters were all addressed to Lin Yan. In 5 years he wrote over 180, but not a single one was ever sent. He knew Lin Yan wouldn't read them. One day during his outdoor break, a voice called out, "Huasiming, you have a visitor." He was stunned. In 5 years, aside from Sun Yan's single visit, no one had come for him. He had expected to spend the rest of his life forgotten. In the visitation room, he saw someone he didn't recognize at first a woman in her early 30s dressed simply, cradling a child in her arms. He was bewildered when the woman looked up. He finally recognized her face. It was the former receptionist from his old company. What was her name? He couldn't quite remember. President Hua, she began, her voice trembling. Do you remember me? Hua Siming shook his head slowly. I'm sorry, my name is Xiao Qin, she said. 5 years ago I was the receptionist at Siming Tech. Every time you walked past you would greet me. Hua Siming remembered now there had been such a girl, round-faced with a very sweet smile. Back then he would occasionally chat with her, asking if work was tiring or how her family was doing, but it had never gone beyond that. Why are you here? He asked. Xiao Qin looked down at the child in her arms, then looked back up. President Hua, this child, she paused. He's yours. Hua Siming's head spun. What? 5 years ago, during that period before the annual gala, you were drinking heavily one night. Xiao Qin's face reddened, and she trailed off. Hua Siming remembered 5 years ago there was a stretch where he was out every night, getting blind drunk. One night he indeed, but he had thought it was just a one-night stand and had forgotten it by the next morning. Why didn't you say anything sooner? I didn't dare, Xiao Qin said. You were the boss and I was just a receptionist. I was afraid if I said anything I'd lose my job. Hua Siming opened his mouth but no words came. Then after your arrest I was even more afraid to speak up, Xiao Qin continued. I gave birth to him alone and raised him myself. I didn't intend to ever come looking for you, but, she choked up, her eyes reddening. But the child is sick, he needs a lot of money for treatment. I simply ran out of options. Hua Siming looked at her, then at the child in her arms. The boy looked about 4 years old, small and frail. His eyes were closed and his face was pale. What's the illness? Leukemia, Xiao Qin said. The doctor says he needs a bone marrow transplant. It costs a fortune. Hua Siming lowered his head. He was in prison. He didn't have a cent to his name. I can't help you, he whispered. Xiao Qin's tears fell. I know, I just wanted you to see him once, just in case. In case something happens to him. She couldn't finish. Hua Siming watched her, feeling as if a knife were being twisted in his heart. How many people had he destroyed in his life? Lin Yan, Su Jin, his mother, his father, and now this child, a child he hadn't even known existed. Let him see me, he said. Xiao Qin lifted the boy up against the glass. The child opened his eyes and looked at him. His gaze was innocent, pure, and completely unaware of the tragedy surrounding them. Hua Siming wept. The visitation time was up. Xiao Qin stood with the child, preparing to leave. Xiao Qin, Hua Siming called out. She turned back. Go find Lin Yan, he said. She'll help you. Xiao Qin was stunned. Why would she help me? She will. Hua Siming said. Tell her I'm the one who sent you. She will. Xiao Qin hesitated, then nodded, and walked away with the child. Hua Siming sat there staring at the closed door, his mind a void. He didn't know if he was doing the right thing, but he knew Lin Yan was the only person left who could save that child. A month later he received a letter. Sender, Lin Yan. His hands shook as he tore it open. There was only one line. The child's surgery was a success. Rest easy. Looking at those words he broke down. He crouched in his cell, pressing that letter to his chest, and cried for a long time. 10 years later, the day Hua Siming was released from prison was overcast. He stood at the prison gates, staring at the world outside, feeling dazed. 10 years, the world had changed so much. The cars were different. People's clothes were different. Even the air felt unfamiliar. He took a deep breath and started walking. After a while, he stopped. A car was parked ahead, a black sedan, an ordinary one. The door opened, and a woman stepped out. Lin Yan. She had aged. There were streaks of silver in her hair and wrinkles at the corners of her eyes, but her gaze was as bright as ever. Dressed in a simple trench coat, she stood by the car, watching him. Hua Siming walked over and stopped in front of her. They looked at each other for several seconds. Get in, Lin Yan said. Hua Siming nodded and stepped into the car. The car started and headed toward the city. The entire way, neither of them spoke. The car bypassed the city center and finally pulled up at a cemetery gate. Hua Siming was taken aback. Get out, Lin Yan said. They walked inside together. They stopped before a headstone, grave of Su Jin. Lin Yan knelt down and placed a bouquet of white chrysanthemums. Hua Siming stood beside her, looking at the photo on the grave. In the photo, Su Jin was still young. Kneel, Lin Yan said. Hua Siming hesitated for a second, then sank to his knees. Mentor, Lin Yan spoke softly. His out. The wind blew, swaying the white flowers. 10 years, Lin Yan continued. He's been inside for 10 years. He's come to pay his respects to you. Kneeling on the ground, Hua stared at the headstone, his eyes welling up. "Auntie Sue," he said, his voice raspy. "I'm sorry." He kowtowed 3 times. Lin Yan watched him, saying nothing. They stayed at the grave for a long time, only leaving when the sky began to fade. On the way back, Hua suddenly asked, "That child, how is he?" Lin Yan glanced at him. "He's doing well, he's in elementary school now. Does he know about me?" "No," Lin Yan said. Xiaoqin didn't tell him. Hua nodded and asked no more. The car started again, this time heading toward the train station. "I bought you a ticket," Lin Yan said, "to your hometown. Your mother is still waiting for you." Hua froze. She's still alive." "She is," Lin Yan said. "Waiting for you to come home." Hua lowered his head, his shoulders shaking. The car stopped in front of the station. They both got out and stood in the station plaza. "Lin Yan," Hua began. Lin Yan looked at him. "Thank you," he said. "Thank you for taking care of my mother, thank you for saving that child, and thank you for coming to pick me up today." Lin Yan remained silent. "I know saying thank you is useless," Hua continued, "but I still wanted to say it." He paused. "In this life I've wronged many people, but the one I wronged the most was you." Lin Yan looked at him, her gaze serene. "If there is a next life," Hua said, "I will push that cart for you forever." Lin Yan was silent for a few seconds, then she spoke her final words to him. "Hua in the next life I don't want to know you at all." Hua stood frozen. Lin Yan turned and got back into the car. The engine started and the car slowly drove away. Hua stood in the plaza, watching the car vanish into the stream of traffic. The wind blew, feeling a bit chilly. He stood there for a long time, then finally turned and walked into the station. The waiting hall was bustling with people. He found a corner to sit in, waiting for his ticket to be called. His phone buzzed. He pulled it out and saw a text message. It was from Lin Yan. It was only one line. "Live well." As he read the words, his tears fell. The boarding call began. He stood up and followed the crowd inside. He passed through the gate, onto the platform, and boarded the train. The train started moving and the scenery outside began to recede. He leaned back against his seat and closed his eyes. Images flashed through his mind. That street 10 years ago, helping her push the cart. Those nights 10 years ago, her waiting for him to come home for dinner. The annual gala 10 years ago, throwing the pregnancy report in her face. That office 10 years ago, her sitting in his chair watching him. 10 years, it was all over. The train sped toward the distance. Outside the window, the sun was setting, painting the horizon in a wash of orange and red. He opened his eyes, looked at the evening glow, and a faint smile touched his lips. "Lin Yan," he whispered. "Thank you." The train continued forward, disappearing into the sunset. The END.